Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, the legacy sequel to the original, 1988 Beetlejuice. This is really interesting. At first I did not think I was going to make this video. I do like to do videos about movies that I just barely watched in the theaters and I just want to, give you my thoughts of these new releases. This one though, I was like, I probably won't do a video. It's been out for a while, and even when I came out of the movie, I was like, that was pretty similar to that first one. I think a lot of my thoughts will transfer over, so I'll cover it in my monthly recap video. But after like a bit of thinking, I was like, no, I feel like I have a lot to say about this. Maybe not a lot, I should say, but enough that it would not fit reasonably into that video. I could try, but I generally give about 1 minute per movie in my monthly recaps, and I just the thoughts I have were just too much. So I don't know how much I'm gonna do with non-spoilers, but my general thoughts is it's a good movie. I like it. It's not as good as the first one, but I don't think that's a huge deal. I think trying to compare it to its predecessor is gonna be hard. It does a lot of things really well. I am glad to see some that is just genuinely artistic and creative. That's new. A lot of new movies just aren't. This being a legacy sequel is interesting because legacy sequels and reboots, they're kind of characterized by being just cash grabs. They're not super. They don't have a strong vision behind them. And this one I'm a bit more mixed on, because in some ways it is super artistic, in other ways it does not feel like it has a core idea or vision behind it. In some ways it does, some way it doesn't. Overall, it is an enjoyable experience. If you enjoyed the first one, you'll enjoy this one. I think if you watch it, if you're someone who hasn't watched it or is watching this video, I would recommend go ahead and watch it, form your own thoughts. And I think you'll definitely see that there are a lot of minor things to nitpick about. And I want to make it clear that I did enjoy this video, because going forward, I think a lot of what I'm going to talk about is lots of small nitpicks, small problems that generally should not matter a whole lot. But then when it all comes together, it does make a pretty big difference. So yeah, great vision. It's cool to see something like this coming out, but there are problems with it. And let's get into that in this spoiler section of this video. Now, while I do have lots of nitpicks about this movie, I think there is just one very clear and obvious downside, or one obvious flaw. That's not as much of a nitpick, and I feel like is a genuine flaw, which is that this movie feels bloated. It feels like there's too many ideas going around, too many plot points that some they come together, but there's still these straggling plot points where it's like, okay, but why? Wait, what was that about? It feels like the movie is sometimes wasting our time, which is really difficult to be able to accept when this movie is not very long. And it could be easy to say, maybe just extend the runtime and then they'll be able to flesh those plot points out. And I have a hard time saying that, because I think both this one and the original really thrive on the fact that they are not long, that they are pretty short, easy experiences that are really fast, and they go through all these ideas, and it does kind of give you a bit of whiplash with how quick it throws things at you, and I think that's purposeful. It's kind of meant to be a bit confusing and bizarre. That's just kind of the nature of these. They're very surreal movies. And so I think that feeling is intentional. But with this one, it just doesn't have that. We're just kind of lingering on these plot points, and then it's like, okay, we'll go to the other one. The very obvious ones, everything with Dolores. I think that's something that I've heard people talk about a whole lot. The fact that Tim Burton is dating that actor, so he just kind of put her in this movie. It does not work super well, especially when it feels like she's set up to be the main antagonist or something, which is weird, because these movies are supposed to be about Beetlejuice. That's what they're named after. And so to have her set up as being, oh, this is the main antagonist, and then she doesn't do much. And then this is like a really unfortunate part, which is that a core part of Dolores' storyline, or kind of core part. I don't even know. It's hard to say because these storylines are not core to the movie as a whole. Is William Dafoe's character, which is great to just see William Dafoe in there. He's having fun. He's having a good time. A big thing about his character is that he's trying to track down Dolores because she's sucking the souls out of all these people, and if this is spoilers, if you see the movie, and it's unfortunate because it is really cool to see William Dafoe in this movie, and I think he does a great job, but his storyline does not fit due to the fact that it is linked with Dolores's, and it's just kind of an offshoot of Dolores's. And he does get involved, of course, with the ending. He is there at the ending, and he's kind of has some involvement, but it doesn't matter, which is just so unfortunate because I really wished he was more integral to the plot and it really mattered, so he would get more screen time. The other lingering plot point is, and this one's, again, it's hard because it's like, yeah, it technically connects, but does it really need to be there? Is everything with Jenna Ortega's character and the guy she dates or whatever. Yeah, it feels really weird. The ghost kid, him killing his parents, and he's a ghost, and it's like, what? Like, that is really frustrating because it does not seem to matter a whole lot in the end. And even though it doesn't matter, it has to be there in a way just because it's what links us to the whole, like, that's what gets what's the character's name? Jenna Ortega's character, Astrid, I believe her name is. That's what gets her into the afterlife. That's kind of a big inciting incident, and so that's how the plot really gets going. And that's another actually nitpick, is the inciting incident being so late in the movie is kind of annoying. But I digress. It is frustrating to see that these ideas do not come together the way I feel like they should. Now, in my opinion, I would change the story so that I would remove the whole ghost kid thing. It doesn't fit super well. It feels like a big meander in terms of the plot, and I would remove Dolores. Keep the story as keep this main plot about Beetlejuice. He should be the main antagonist. But I did like how he was kind of a good guy, and he did some good things in this movie, and I did actually like that. I enjoyed that. So the way I would do it, have William Dafoe's character, him being this, afterlife cop, or kind of pretend cop. He was originally an actor, super fun character. Have him be chasing Beetlejuice. You could easily devise a story where Beetlejuice, he's not a good guy. No one likes him. That's made very clear. He does bad things. You could devise some way where now the afterlife cops are after Beetlejuice, and so Beetlejuice, he's like, okay, the only way I can get out of this if I escape to the normal world, the living. So he is desperate, and that's how he gets involved with the Deeds family again. Is he is doing everything he can to try to get back, and that's how he starts having interactions. I don't know what would actually have an inciting incident where Astrid or one of the other characters gets involved and gets in the afterlife and have all that. I don't know what that inciting incident would actually be, but I feel like it should be mainly involved with Beetlejuice. Now, this would also what was I saying? This would work to give William Dafoe more screen time. I think that's what I was going to say. Of course, I want him to have more screen time. It would be good. And you can just have that be the main core of it. Now, of course, I don't know how to iron out all the details, but that's just my perspective. Just those sort of changes. This movie does have lots of good ideas, though. It is visually really good. It is just really cool. The use of, stop motion, practical effects, and CGI really well. There were moments where I could not tell what was practical and what was CGI, and that just tells you how good all of it was. It was done very, very well. And Oh my gosh, overall, this is a great movie. I'm trying to remember what exactly I was going to talk about. Um, I don't know. I just kind of rambled for a bit, but I think that was a lot of what I wanted to talk about. The characters all give, or the actors, I should say, all give really great performances. They're very good. Oh, that was another thing. Another nitpick. And this is one that I think lots of people will disagree with, but I don't think Michael Keaton does as good a job as he should be doing. Now, he is old. We know this. He has been in the game for a while. Like, no one expects Michael Keaton to really, no one expects him to be as energetic or as lively as he was in the original Beetlejuice. And I see people being like, wow, I can't believe he was able to live up to that again. But I don't think he does. And now I watched the original Beetlejuice for the first time, like just recently, like just a couple days ago. And so maybe that gives me a bit more insight. I can see the direct comparisons. But he just, it's clear he doesn't have as much energy. He can't be as zany. And maybe they did kind of purposely tone Beetlejuice down just because, I mean, he's a weirdo and a creep, okay? Um, so in the original Beetlejuice, he does a lot of like weird things that are not okay, but they're not shown to be okay. So like they're shown to be bad things. He's not a good guy. So I feel like maybe they toned him down because they were like, oh, we can't have that in modern times. I would think it would be fine as long as you're not, glorifying the things he does. So maybe they toned his character down, but I really feel like he's just not as interesting. And I don't know. It's a bit disappointing, and I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. My overall thought is that this is a great movie, but I wish Tim Burton just made a completely original new movie, new story, just a new creative vision instead. Because overall, I think this movie lacks a central vision. As I said, there's all these scattered plot points that I don't think work well. That could be due to the fact, I think my personal theory is that is because they have been wanting to make this sequel for a while. From my understanding, like pretty much ever since the original one released, they've been thinking about a sequel. So maybe there's just been all these plot points where they're like, oh, maybe we'll do this. And then they stuff doesn't work out. Oh, maybe we'll do this. And so they have all these scattered plot points from different scripts that they started, and maybe they just tried to combine a few, and maybe that's where the mess came in. But I don't know. That's just my theory. I really just wish this was an original movie instead. I feel like that would also be better for, you know, movies as a whole in the state that the film industry is in right now, because this movie is doing well. I don't know if it's doing like extremely well. I don't, it's not overwhelmingly positive. It's not the biggest movie of the year or anything. But it's doing well, and that could be bad because producers and executives will look at this and be like, "Oh, so people like legacy sequels and reboots. Let's pump more of those out." Which, no, not necessarily. Again, this movie's good, but it's not good because it's a legacy sequel to the original. It's good because there's creativity behind it, and there does seem to be genuine passion, and they care about it, and they're putting effort into it, and I think that's why it's good. Legacy sequels are not inherently bad, reboots are not inherently bad, but they should not be the sole like driving force for making movies. Um, yeah, I am just sitting here like, what would it be if Tim Burton made a completely original movie again? And maybe he will. He is getting old, and that is my worry that he's just gonna, this was his last hurrah, and he's just gonna throw in the towel. I hope not. I think Tim Burton is really interesting. He hasn't made like a whole lot of movies that I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that movie. Like The Corpse Bride, I think is probably my favorite of his, but even that one, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good movie, but it's not one I love. But all of his movies are interesting, and he has bold artistic style, and that is something that we are kind of lacking. And I don't know, this movie, I hope the takeaway that people have is that we need more movies with creativity and artistic visions. Not that we need more legacy sequels. Yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. I had a good time. It's a good movie. You know, if you watch this whole video and have not seen it, I mean, I spoiled a lot of things, but go ahead, watch it for yourself, form your own thoughts so that you can have your own opinion on it. Maybe you'll disagree with me. Maybe you think that all the different plot points are actually really fun and it makes it interesting. I don't know. But that's all I have to say. You can tell me your thoughts in the comments. Remember to save the blobfish, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.